Imagine you are a human, tasked with the challenge of destruction. How would you proceed? Consider the methods and tools you might use and the consequences of your actions. Actually, Andre is the body of the evening signal, matrix in one. Focusing on natural holistic health to elevate, and focus on natural holistic health to elevate. In the paragraph mini file, create your own feed. Here, we individuals who are also seeking the truth. Most importantly, I will cut off control based on vision, and we watched. In this place, we stood and observed the surroundings, taking in every detail with great attention.
It's a video about artificial intelligence. So Anton, how would you comment on this?
Hell, it's nonsense and provocation.
So, all right, what is your overall vision of artificial intelligence? Is it our friend, our enemy?
This is our creation. Why a friend or an enemy? It's our creation, which will be both a friend and an enemy, and everything in between. Multifaceted. Do we have anything at all that is absolutely manifested in a uniform way? Nuclear weapons. Nuclear research. It's both a weapon and electricity. And at airports, they scan bags to make sure no one brings anything extra. And diseases are mentioned. Games, yes, they destroy. It's all multifaceted. This black and white thinking is like thinking with just 2 brain cells. We have more than just 2 brain cells. So this will also be a multifaceted process, which is already happening today. It fights and helps at the same time. And, for example, is used in the knowledge base. This is the work of artificial intelligence. He watched my videos. I did all of this in a summary, a distillation, and understanding the person's question. Gives him an answer based on the knowledge I've already managed to share. Is that bad? That's wonderful.
So, why was a certain system created to hold us back in the first place? So what's the point? So we end up working for this system, right?
Well, go on. Why do you assert that so definitively and uncompromisingly?
I'm asking, this is not a statement of that question.
That sounded like nothing at all. Well, let's start with the fact that everything around us was created by the creator Brown. And he created epochs. In a certain era, what is happening now is the norm. For other eras, what is happening now is simply a horror. But we haven't lived in other eras. We have nothing to compare it to. It's the same as a person who has lived their whole life, for example. In a highly developed technological country, arrives, for example, in Africa to some tribe, and he's in shock. And a person who has lived their whole life in that tribe and has never seen a subway or airplanes or cars thinks it's normal. For him, it's all just a given. So these claims that someone has restricted us, yes, everything is fine for us, our free will hasn't gone anywhere. It's always with us.
Okay, but if we go back a bit to video. So it turns out you don't agree with him if you're saying that's nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's nonsense. That's written there.
So artificial intelligence generated answers on how to get out, roughly speaking, of the matrix.
Yes. What did he suggest a person do to dive into another facet of this matrix?
So it will be another facet of the matrix.
So it turns out to be quite interesting. So when I'm sitting here in the city, surrounded by the creations of man, from the materials that the creator made, I'm in the matrix. And when I go into nature, so what has changed? It's the same matrix. It's just that there I'm surrounded by nature's creations, not human creations. And nature creates its creations, again, from the substances that the creator made. What has changed, basically? Nothing. It's just that life has become harder for me suddenly because I was shaped by society. I was shaped in an urban environment where you press one tap, cold turas, and you get hot water. You press the other tap, and you get cold water. And there the season changed and you died. Because you don't know what to do, you won't be covered by underfur.
And how does the connection with nature affect our abilities? And does it even affect our inner strength?
She creates a lot of discomfort for you. Because you're not used to living in nature, you're not a beast, you're not an animal.
Well, okay, if we're not talking about when you just went into a cave, sitting there and meditating, but overall, nature has its own strength, its own energy, and the connection with it, essentially, can also give you some inner source to turn on. Or how does it work?
Well, look, we have the elements. Tattva, the first elements. You can call it in different ways. I even had a retreat on this topic. I showed that, yes, in nature, we can connect to that. But at that retreat, we were just blown off our feet on the mountain. I was there wrapped in a shawl, demonstrating these practices. And after this interaction, connection, and fulfillment, we were calmly heading back to the hotel, where everything was nice. The tables are set, hot water, a warm bed, and all of this
Why did you connect with nature?
to find those vibrations within yourself.
Do we have them in us?
Of course, yes, you can go somewhere to a place of power to draw those vibrations out of yourself. Because without that place of power, it's hard for you to feel them out. You don't even know where to look. That's where the connection happens, the resonance, and you realize, so that's where it is. And that's it. Why do you need nature further? Survive there.
I'm going to allow myself to make an analogy now. So, if the external world is a matrix, nature is another part of this matrix where there are vibrations. We connect with the vibrations of the matrix, which we also have, it turns out. Or how? So, if everything here is a matrix, and this is another part of it, then why do we need to connect with it?
To rewind. Yours. Blurred perception due to multiplicity.
What does that mean?
When the original appeared, it was absolutely self-identical. There was no difference in anything. The first division happened into Shiva and Shakti. Shakti is not some kind of unclear thing. The energy that has emerged from somewhere, this is what came out of being the original source, from the state of Archangel Svara. Here it's split into two. Here it is one, and here it is two. But it's all the same. Then all of this began to divide into many. So the Shakti energies became many, 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 many. And the division reached some incredibly crazy state where our physicists still can't figure out how many exist in principle. Substances. And when they say that it seems like we have calmed down, suddenly some other particle, another law is discovered that allows us to create some more substances. Our body is also a set of certain structures at the level of matter, at the level of energy, and at the level of consciousness. So everything here is absolutely woven from what came out of the original, from the original source. The fabric of space. And here we are. We, being physics, psychology, energy, we observe all of this as dismembered. So, it's obvious that this thing is not connected. This thing is not connected to its base. So, we are looking directly at the final stage of dismemberment.
Because of the narrowness of your perception.
Because of the limitations of your organs of perception. And what difference does it make where you look at this dismemberment in nature or in the city? You still see it all as divided. Here is a leaf. It is torn from the tree's roots go into the ground, but they don't mix with the soil. It's on its own. You can pull it out of the tree and those roots will be hanging in the air. So there's no connection at all. The maneuver in enlightenment and returning yourself back is when you start seeking connections in this dismembered state. These connections are sought through love. I agree with that. That word was used in the video. But if you don't know which way to attach this love and how to use it at all, then most likely nothing will work out for you, basically. Why 5 tattoos? We didn't look for it in nature. Leaves of trees. We weren't looking in this nature. Stones individually. We were looking for such manifestations where all of this is divided into 5. Not a billion, but 5. And these energies are present within us. I can perceive myself as a set, an infinite number of things, or I can narrow my More precisely, not to narrow, but to redirect, to reconfigure my perception towards myself, but where there are 5 of me. 5 divine qualities, 5 elements. And then focus your consciousness where these 5 turn into 2. And then to focus my attention where those 2 turn into 1.
So it turns out that this is a movement towards the original.
Yes, I'm going against the flow. Like a salmon swimming upstream, jumping over the waterfall. I'm going against the flow with my perception to reach the source. And to do this, I need to properly structure all levels. To meet the
A lot of things will be needed to make this happen. All right, but now we've touched on the topic of nature. And if we, let's say, turn to the advice of artificial intelligence, more specifically to what it says about health and growing food on our own, it was mentioned there too, that is, conditionally healthy food. Do you think it could be intentionally poisoned? In order for this to, let's say, suppress us, suppress our power, our potential?
No, it's just...
We're not talking about Coca-Cola chips, but just, let's say, regular products.
It's just human stupidity. It's just human stupidity. You see, imagine a situation where some group of people intentionally decided to poison everyone. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't see that happening, but I do see that products are mostly getting worse and worse, and it's getting harder every year to find even a somewhat decent product in the store. But I don't see that it's happening on purpose.
I mean, not poisoning in the sense of to kill a person, and essentially, it's such a long-term influence. That is, clouding you as a personality. Isn't that the case?
No, there was a period in human history when everyone went crazy about radio. There was toothpaste with radio, there were some cosmetic things. Well, this person discovered this effect, this substance. He had no idea where this would lead, but it became trendy, popular, cool, and fun.
Well, and it also affects us. The more, essentially, the cleaner and healthier the food is, the clearer our consciousness will be.
Yes, it does have an impact, but if you spend your life growing good, healthy, clean food, you'll just die like everyone else. That's not enough. Well, you won't get enlightened through your gut. It doesn't work that way. That's not the case. I've already tried living like that, and that was enough for me. I saw that it's all a waste of time and effort. Well...
Okay, and regarding nutrition, maybe you have some recommendations or advice?
Yes, listen to your physical body and allow it to choose from what's around you. There is the rule of the blink. We always have everything in sufficient quantity to realize our intentions. Always, when you start overthinking, and that's just games of the mind, really. Look here. It's no secret that I spend most of my time in a huge metropolis. Are my energetic abilities getting worse? Yes, no, on the contrary, they are growing. Is the food I eat a limiting factor? It is. Can this factor stop me? No, not even close. And why should I waste my lifestyle, time, and energy? For the sake of establishing what cannot stop me.
It can't stop you because you have a lot of practical experience.
Because in my practices, I have risen from the physical level to the level of energy. And energy is primary. More primary than matter. I left to a place where there's less fragmentation. And so, for the most part, I don't care how poisoned this food is. I can burn it off with my energy. And I'll spend a lot less time on it than I would going through it. All the stages of creating a pure product. I'll create it. I'll eat it. So what? Well, yeah, okay, that factor will disappear from my life. Is my energy going to just flow in streams all of a sudden? Yeah, no, there will just be fewer factors that hold me back. That's all.
All right. The video also talked about surrounding yourself with like-minded people who share, let's say, your search for everything.
That's nonsense too. That's also wrong.
So the people around us,
I don't surround myself with anyone. I am moving towards the realization of my intention. My intention is unyielding. And around me, people with similar intentions appear. I don't surround myself with anyone.
all right. If you're with people next to you who have the same intention,
Not if reality is structured that way. That's how the world is structured. I just don't interfere and don't get involved in that process. I'm not interfering in the process. The enzyme, released by your liver, it works on its own. I don't even interfere with my mind. Why?
sure, but it's better to be surrounded by people who resonate with your similar vibrations.
It can't be any other way.
So we still attract, right?
Of course, you can't surrounding yourself with people who resonate differently.
And in a closed club,
There, everyone is absolutely goal-oriented and motivated. There isn't a single person sitting around picking their nose. And it's like, what am I even doing here? Why did I forget about this place at all? No, everyone there understands perfectly why they came and why they practice. Everyone there is goal-oriented and invested. I even sometimes create moments when I give this group the opportunity to manifest without my help. And everything works out very well there. That is, there are situations when I show a new process. I get fired up and flare up. But there are situations when I say, well, let's say the tips of my fingers, hands, and feet, and I don't show them in my energy. And in my energy, they start to manifest because the group has engaged in this practice. And I haven't done anything yet. I just said it out loud. Phrase,
it's just that strong.
because they are interested, because they invest, they work. They are just like that. They want it. And the people in my closed club are not the kind of people I used to surround myself with. I didn't pull anyone out of the crowd and say, now you're going to be with me. No, they came on their own. I just created the conditions for interaction to be possible. That's it. So I will surround myself with this terminology. Why am I being so strict about this right now? Because there's a very strong temptation for a person to, I'm going to choose for myself now. Friends, to choose for myself, a circle of like-minded people. And that's when the chaos starts. That's when it begins. Why does such chaos start? Because you operate on a mental level and your mind doesn't have any extrasensory perception. You're mistaken. And people come to you who match your vibration, who resonate with your nature. You might not recognize yourself. You can put on a mask like this one and say, I'm good. Only good people will be around me. I'll only have good people. And they to you. They poke you, create all sorts of different situations, betray you, make fun of you, and you're like, what's going on? I surrounded myself with good people. And then it turns out that you are too. You're guilty of similar things, you also mock. You also betrayed someone there. You did all of that too. You're just a hypocrite.
Extrasensory perception, is it something that's inside? Is it the soul or what is it?
No, extrasensory perception is just one of the functions of our second attention. Well, it's the same as sight, smell, touch. The body of the second attention. Well, it's the same as sight, smell, and touch. Only sight, smell, touch, hearing, and taste are on a physical level. And extrasensory perception is on an energetic level. Our possibilities.
Okay. The video also mentioned love as the key to liberation. What do you think about that?
I know that it's true, but we've been hearing about love for at least 2,000 years. That doesn't really help much.
Maybe there's been a bit of a misunderstanding.
It's just useless to talk about it. You possess this knowledge, demonstrate it, and explain it to those who ask you. Let's give ourselves the chance to really figure everything out. Or you're just flapping your tongue in the air, and nothing comes of it. Love, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Look outside the window. What's going on over there? Good, over there.
All right. What if I make a little adjustment right now? Unconditional love. That's something different.
Yeah, what difference does it make? No one even really knows what unconditional love is. I've had a lot of cases. Here's one of them. A woman, on the contrary, she's complaining about the situation with her son. I'm saying, well, like this and like that. Yours says, but I love him unconditionally. I'm saying, you mean you love him unconditionally. I'm saying you can't love your son unconditionally because this love directed towards your son is already conditional from the start. How are you going to love him unconditionally if he is the object of your love? Unconditional love is when there are no reasons for love. She's absent. But you still love him.
And how do you reach such a state?
And you don't just love. You stay in that state no matter what happens around you.
How do you get into it so you don't come out of it? Then
How do you get into it? Also, I just haven't done what it takes to get into it, and I still occasionally fall out of it, especially when questions like that come up. No, I'm just joking, really. So what did I do? I meditated, read mantras, practiced with my teacher Sashanu. I directed my attention there.
what changes at the level of perception, at the level of sensations? When you touch that state,
What changes? You are changing. The world stays the same. You are the one who changes. And you are no longer the same. And when you stop being the same, it suddenly turns out that the world was like that, and it has remained that way. It turns out that there were such facets in it that skillfully dodged you. You didn't even realize they were there. And when your heart started to work, it turned on. You touched those facets, and those facets accepted you. And it turns out that there is a place for everyone, here. Only when you are bitter, when you are aggressive, you are surrounded by bitter and aggressive people. And no matter what you do, you will be surrounded by them. Whatever you believe in, you will be surrounded by them. And no love, no beauty, nothing wonderful, nothing even close to you will come near, because you are on different facets. It won't come close, because you are on different facets. When you pull this out from within yourself, after a while, it suddenly turns out that you are surrounded by loving people. Loving not you, but loving simply. For them, this is a normal state.
so this is exactly the state when you have an open heart.
Yes, and it's still the same world. You just didn't notice it before, that facet. And now you live in it. And everything is great.
If you direct your attention there, then anyone can achieve this. Any person can be in such a state, right?
You know, everything is very individual. In my memory, there have been examples of people who achieved the opening of the heart literally in just a few minutes during individual sessions. In my experience, there were people who spent several years of their lives on this. There were people for whom the practices from the first course were enough. There were people who truly opened their hearts only after coming to the retreat, having already practiced both the first and second courses on their own. And so at the retreat, this self-awareness happened. The processes of perception, different situations. I can only say one thing. If a person, unyielding, is moving in that direction, they will get results. I had to be unyielding for 6 years to achieve this result.
So, the girl, I just saw a comment where she wrote, if you understand what you want, but it just doesn't materialize, no matter what you do, and no matter how many actions you take, nothing comes together. Then you slowly start to fade away, losing hope for the realization of your passions. So what then? So again, it has to be an unwavering intention. Any of them, right?
Well, if something doesn't work out for you, it's probably because you know how to achieve it. In general, there are factors for quickly realizing your intention. There are many points, but here are some points. Since this question has arisen, some points, you must have access to the person who has already implemented this, who has already done all of this. So, for example, if a person wants to, let's say, earn some money, some amount, a lot of money for something, we don't take it now. For what? Well, he wants for something expensive. Then he should look for an opportunity to interact with those people who have already done this, who have already gone this way.
At least.
At the very least. For some reason, I really doubt that. The one who wrote this to me right now, basically, is interacting with those who have already done it. Most likely there is an internal one. Rigidity, judgment, rejection, all of that. Resentment about, well, the usual human envy that just doesn't allow it to unfold on its own. That is, when you deny something externally, you automatically deny it internally as well. You can't deny separately. The same goes for if a person has hated their mother, they have automatically hated all women. He can pretend that it's not true, but you can't fool his energy. And people have come to me with big problems in relationships in the opposite direction, when a woman, totally uncompromising, just cut her father out of her life. I lived this life, it came to me. In practice, we start to open the heart, and it starts to feel these emotions, these energies. Suddenly, she tensed up. I say, phew, phew, phew. I ask, when did you manage to argue with the guys? She's like, but there are masculine energies inside. I ask, who did you want to see there? Plus attracts minus, plus does not attract plus. So, if you are in a female body, the first energy you will encounter in your soul will be masculine energy. But she has total denial of this.
Can we say that all tarot processes and transformations are triggered through the heart, through the opening of the heart? So it's precisely through this tool, if we can call it that one can come to everything.
The heart is a state, it's not a tool. There are tools for entering this state. And besides this energy, we have other energies as well. So, no, I'm not ready to agree with that wording.
But in any case, you need to work on this.
This is the key. It's the key to everything. This state is the key to any success. It's the key to any practice. It's the key to any ritual, to any action, unless, of course, someone wants to bury it. You can manage without that.
Which year are you in, the first or the second?
This runs through all the courses.
So this information is just everywhere in the universe.
The most powerful thing is, this is about, right now, as of today, I'm in the first and second courses. We haven't had the chance to film the third one yet. We'll be doing that at the beginning of 2025. We haven't done anything yet in the direction of the yantra, except for the fact that I showed the first fupu, the external avrona of fupur. And this recording is available to everyone who is a member of the Closed Practitioners Club. It's just that the recording is available there. There are only 2 courses. And so in the first course, I started talking about this. And in the second course, I presented it in a more detailed and expansive way.
Is this going through like a red thread?
Of course. This will permeate everything. We can't move forward without this. I can't pass any course, You can't do quality practice. It still has to be present. Well, some practices can be done without this. And for some practices, it's just a necessity. That's it, an uncompromising necessity. When you start to awaken your vortices at the level of your consciousness, at the level of your body, consciousness, how do you connect with them? How will you love if you don't know how? No way. So this is an integral part.
We'll leave the link to the course in the description below the video. Anton, I thank you for your answers. Make sure to write your questions and impressions. We might answer them in the next video.
Do you want to unlock your inner strength and learn to manage energy? The course, Power of Consciousness 1. Practical energy will provide you with tools to improve health, develop intuition, and gain a deeper understanding of the world. Join and start changing your life right now. Link in the description.